What are the differences between a permanent resident and a US citizen? Many people are confusing the two. A lot of people think that at the moment I become a permanent resident in the United States, for instance, as a green card holder, I'm a US citizen. No, you are not. And these two things are vastly different. Yes, there are some of the benefits and the opportunities you get as a green card holder or rather permanent resident, but there are differences with the person who is a permanent resident. So I want to make sure you understand. If you know the difference between the two, you'll be in a position when the time comes, and I will explain at what time comes, if you want to make a decision whether you want to do what we call naturalization process to become a United States citizen, or rather you want to continue to be a permanent resident, you know what you are getting into. What are you going to gain? What are you going to lose? What are the responsibilities? What are the expectations if you become a permanent resident and if you become a US citizen? Okay, let me break down to you now. Let me start with the permanent resident. Each country in the world has a status as a permanent resident. Each country. That doesn't mean you are a citizen of that particular country. I can just say a permanent resident is just a step in between a visitor or an international person coming to a particular country and a few steps before becoming a US citizen if you want to become a US citizen. So once you win the diversity visa program, you become a permanent resident. If you get married to a US citizen, you become a permanent resident. If you get sponsored by a company, you can become... So there are different ways to become a permanent resident here in the United States. The moment you become a permanent resident, you are still a citizen of your own country. You will continue to have your own passport of your own country. Yes, you'll be given the card which is green, the green card. But remember, you are still a citizen of your own country. If you travel from the United States, you are going back to your own country. You are going with your own passport. You don't need a visa to go back to your own country. But if you are a green card holder, let's say you are in the United States, you are from Tanzania, you are from Kenya, you are from Uganda, you are from Rwanda, you are from South Africa, you are from Malawi, whatever country you are from, and then you are travel, you want to go to, let's say, to United Kingdom, you want to go to Germany. You don't just get into the plane to go to Germany. Remember, you are still a citizen of your own country. You are a permanent resident, but a citizen of your own country. So you will be required to go and get a visa, just like any other international person going to Germany to get the visa. And that embassy, Germany embassy, can ask you for the bank statement. And you can explain, are you going to become illegal in our country? You'll be just like any other person. That is one of the differences between a permanent resident and a US citizen. If I travel even to Britain, I don't need to have a visa in advance. I can show up at the airport, go to the Britain and have a stamp at Heathrow in London. They don't ask me for the bank statement. Because they know for sure, as a United States citizen, I will not need to go and just become illegal in England. But if you're still a green card holder, yes, you have a freedom of movement, yes, within the US, but once you go outside the country, you will be still treated as a citizen of that country which you are holding the passport. Because once they ask you apply for the visa to go to England, visa to go to Australia, what you are sending, you are not sending the green card, you are sending the passport to get the visa. Your passport is Tanzanian passport, your passport is a Burundian passport, your passport is Nigerian passport. I remember there was one situation, there are two YouTubers, girls, originally from Nigeria. They had a situation where they went to, I don't remember, it was Tanzania, whatever country, they were deported, like were not given the visa because they assumed because they are permanent resident, they can just show up and get that stamp, and they didn't get. They say, no, you have to get the visa prior at our embassies. So those are the things people should know. You can be surprised. You think that you are a US citizen. No, you are not. You are a green card holder. Another difference is this one. As a green card holder, at any point, there are certain things if you do, they can decide to take away, to strip you off from your green card. Let's say if you decide to vote, you're a green card holder, you are not a US citizen, you cannot vote. They will take out the green card, take it away completely, and revoke it, and you are going to be deported back to your country. There are certain crimes if you commit, you'll be stripped of your green card and be told to go back to your home country, deported. So there are responsibilities as a green card holder you must know. But a US citizen, no matter what crime you commit, you'll be treated prison, whatever, just like any other American citizen. No matter what you do, they're not going to take you out to a citizenship. No. Another process or another difference. When you are a green card holder, by law, you are allowed, you are required, wherever you change the address from one apartment to another apartment, from one house to another house, whether in the same street, whether in the same city, whether it's different states, you must notify the immigration, United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, within 10 days, you have moved it to another house or to another address. It is the regulations. Failure to do that will be deported. Are they going to deport you? No, for failure to do that. But that is the regulations. But a US citizen is not subjected to that. If you are traveling, let's say you want to travel from, you are originally from Cameroon. You are going back to Cameroon. If you stay for more than 6 months, your green card is over. You lose your green card. So you must be within 6 months. If you want to go more than 6 months, there is a form you have to fill. It's called the advanced parole form. If you want to stay for a year or a year and a half, you have to apply to ask for that permission because you are permanent of America. But as a US citizen, I'm allowed to go to another country. I can stay even for 5 years without notifying the US government. Yes, obviously I have to fill the tax form, but I don't need to notify that I'm out of the country, please, whatever. No, I don't need to subject to that. When I apply jobs for overseas, I apply as American citizen and I go as American citizen. So I can negotiate the salary as American citizen. But you, when you apply for a job, you apply, yes, a green card, but you are going as Tanzanian. You are going as Kenyan. So there is a difference on that. When you are finding jobs within the US, yes, both you are citizen and green card holder, you have opportunity to apply for many jobs. But as a green card holder, you cannot get federal jobs. 99.9% of all federal jobs, you must be a US citizen to work on the federal government. So you have to think about that. You can work on the state government. At the state level, you can work. Most of the state jobs you can work, exception if they require some sort of clearance. But federal jobs, no, off limit. You must be a US citizen. 99.9% of all jobs of the federal, you must be a US citizen. Obviously, for the people who can do internship is people in the college, you cannot do internship with FBI, CIA, all these big intelligence companies or federal, even internship you cannot do because you are not a US citizen. That is another difference between the two. The other thing to consider is when you become a citizen, you open up more opportunities while you are here. But you have to know what are the regulations with your country. Not all countries around the world allow dual citizenship. Even if they allow, what if your goal down the road is to become president of your country? What if down the road you want to become intelligence officer in your country? What if down the road you want to become a politician in your country? And it will not look good if you come to the United States, become a citizen, and also a citizen of Kenya, or a citizen of Uganda, and you want to become a president of the particular country. You look like you are double agent in both sides. So you look like you are very committed. You are not, people don't look on you as this is a person who is really a trustworthy person. This person is not committed to our country, has another country, doesn't care much about. So sometimes you might not look like you are patriotic enough. You need to think about that. So even if you have dual citizenship, but look on the long range, what am I want to become in the future? What am I going to gain? What am I going to lose? And for those who are coming from a country like Tanzania or other countries which they have one citizenship, Tanzania, you have to be one citizen of, if you take the citizenship of another country, you have officially denounced the citizenship of your country. So that means you cannot own land, you cannot do this. Now they are talking possibility of having the permanent residency status, which they call special status, that if you become a citizen of another country, you will continue to own the land and other few things you'll be able to do. They are working on that. I don't know. But at the moment, I'm making this video, is if you are from the country which doesn't allow dual citizenship, you have to see what assets do you have and possible you might lose, or what are the things you might lose as opportunity. Maybe if you have to go back to your own country, you have to get work permit. If I go to Tanzania, I have to ask for the visa. If I have to invest, I have to invest as a foreigner, not as a Tanzanian anymore. So you have to know, do you want to invest? Do you want to own land? Do you want to do this? So you have to consider all those factors before you make a move to say, I want to become a US citizen. And by the way, to become a US citizen through marriage, if you are married to a US citizen, is 3 years. But other types of green card is after 5 years. So you have to make sure that you pay tax, you don't have a certain crime, whatever, when you want to go to the process of the naturalization. The process, you apply, you pay a certain amount of money, you take the test, citizenship test and the English test, and then you take the oath, you become the citizen, you can apply the passport, and start enjoying the life as a US citizen. So you have to consider to see the differences and make sure that you avoid anything which can make you to be deported as a green card holder or to lose the status as a green card holder, because it's not permanent. Even if it's called permanent, yeah, for instance, if you go, one thing before I forget, if you are out of the country and the time passes, you lose that status of green card, there is a way you have to apply for another visa. It's called a returning permanent resident. You have to apply a certain type of visa at the US embassy, then you can come back to America and then you can get the card. So there is a certain process you have to go through, but it's a complicated one a little bit.